For Ottawa City Councillor Stephen Blais, the last 4 months have been a period of both trial and triumph. The 32-year-old husband and father of a 3-year-old son is showing remarkable progress after suffering a devastating cardiac arrest earlier this year. On January 6th, the Cumberland Ward councillor was working out at a health club when his heart stopped beating. Doctors worked furiously to revive him. Then, Blais still suffered through a medically induced coma, a second brush with death due to pneumonia, and little to no movement in his arms and one leg. Since the end of March, he has been recovering at the Ottawa Hospital's rehabilitation clinic, and that's where I sat down with him today. Stephen, thanks for sitting down with us today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
How are you feeling?
I feel wonderful. You know, it's been a difficult 3 or 4 months, but my recovery is going very well. You know, the trajectory is going up, and I feel great. You know, obviously I had a major cardiac arrest at the beginning of January, so since then, you know, slow progress to, you know, start breathing on my own, start eating solid foods, and eventually start the progress to regain, you know, muscle strength and start to walk again. But I've literally had to learn how to stand and walk again.
What's that like for a guy in his early 30s learning that?
It's tough. You know, it's humbling too when you've got physiotherapists holding you up, trying to help you stand. And you know, at the beginning, if I could stand for 10 seconds, that was a huge milestone. And that's where I was at the end of March when I left the Heart Institute and came here to the rehab center. I was literally only able to stand for, you know, 10 or 12 seconds with the help of others. And now I'm up and about, I'm walking. You know, I still need some assistance with a cane, but I've got almost back to normal.
What's this been like for your loved ones?
You know, I think it's been very tough on my loved ones. I'm very fortunate, though, that my wife is, I think, the strongest person I know, because this put her through quite a lot. And we have a 3-year-old at home, so trying to balance, you know, raising our child and being a good mom for him, and he doesn't understand, so he still requires and demands the same level of attention and love and need, but at the same time to be able to, you know, be at the hospital with me. I don't know how she did it, but she's amazing. Yeah.
And what's that little guy meant for your recovery?
Oh, he's been a huge part of my recovery. I remember you know, we were hesitant to have him come into the hospital at first because I was connected to a lot of tubes, and you know, I think it would be scary for a 3-year-old to see. And but the first time he came in, it was a little tough for him. You know, he didn't really know what to make of it. But by the end of the meeting, he warmed up, and since then it's just been great.
But what does he make of all of this? Like, Daddy's in the hospital, and he's away for a long time.
My wife told him that my heart was broken. Right, you know, and I think he used very basic language, and he asked if his heart was broken, which was, you know, kind of cute little story. But you know, my wife said, you know, his heart's broken. He's at the hospital, and the doctors are trying to fix him, and he'll come home when he's better. When
do you think you might be home for good, and maybe even back at work?
Well, you know, I think I'm going to be home pretty soon. We're still working on that date. And you know, I've been working a little bit from the hospital. I have to say, there's some important files that I've been keeping an eye on, and I chat with members of my office every day, either, you know, on the phone or by email. And you know, we'll see how the transition this spring goes in terms of getting back into some council meetings and committee meetings.
Well, I know a lot of people have been rooting for you and cheering you on, so they'll be glad to see that you look so great. Thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
Wow, what a trooper. It's so great to see him well on the road to recovery, and just amazing as well that he's sitting there in the hospital bed and still doing work.
I know.
That's a committed city councilor.
He's sneaking it in, but we did talk about him having a reputation for being a bit of a workaholic. So this has given him perspective, he said, and he's going to make sure he's better at prioritizing things, and also to not get so stressed about various things, just picking those files a little bit more carefully.
Probably a good idea. Time to slow down.
Yeah.